Hello and welcome to the first ever episode of Goffstown This Week. I'm Adam McCune, the coordinator for Goffstown TV, the host of this show, and also a resident of Goffstown. Before we begin, a quick word about this show and its intent. Goffstown is a vibrant, tight-knit community. We're lucky to have such a great town. Our position as a neighbor to the state's biggest city, as well as a neighbor to a much more rural lifestyle, means that our lovely little town is almost forgotten when it comes to media coverage. That doesn't mean that things don't happen here. And that's where Goffstown This Week steps in. This show aims to answer the question, what's going on with blank? Every week we'll sit down with community leaders, folks that work hard for our town and our schools, along with nonprofit groups and others to discuss an update on what's happening. That might include a budget proposal or a building renovation. That could mean the new fire station, like we're talking about this week with Chief O'Brien, or perhaps the car wash or new auto parts store in Pinardville. Now, one thing this show is not is a commercial. In keeping with our non-commercial status, no advertising will take place during Goffstown This Week. It simply isn't allowed. But that doesn't mean we can't discuss the day's events or what's happening as we speak. It just simply means it's not an endorsement. We'll have a weekly calendar, give you the scores from the varsity teams, as well as a schedule of upcoming games and a quick highlight from some of the games that we covered in the past week. We'll also give an update on what's happening with our most recent government meetings that you might have missed over on our other channel, Channel 22. We're also looking for your help. Do you have an event that is worthy of a spot on our calendar? Great, send it to us. Were you part of an event in town and snapped a picture or maybe a quick video with your smartphone? Even better, talk to us about how we can share that with everyone in town and beyond. We have a great community. We'd like Goffstown This Week to put that on display. So, thanks for watching. Now here's the rest of our first show. Hello and welcome. I'm Adam McCune, host for Goffstown This Week and director here at Goffstown Television. And with me is our fire chief, Rich O'Brien. How are you doing today?
Great, thank you.
So lots to talk about with the fire department, especially with the new fire station downtown.
Absolutely. Adam, thanks for having me. A lot of big doings. People now have gone downtown, can obviously see the improvements going on. We had a groundbreaking ceremony last October, and since then there's been a lot of activity on Church Street. And to this week, people can see what the structure is probably going to look like. Obviously, the green board is just the insulation board that's on the exterior structure right now, but you'll see some siding going on soon in the next week or two.
That's a good sign. Yeah, we gotta kind of get that box done, and then they can work on the inside.
Yeah, what it is, this has been in the planning process for years, and the reason being for the project is we just plain out ran out of room. Trucks are getting bigger. We ran out of storage space. The offices were way too small for us. The cruise quarters were inadequate. So now we have a space we can move on for years to come. We took the existing station and, in a sense, doubled its square footage. Because we had some land in a parking lot next to the station, we're able to put on an addition and add a second floor. In that second floor, we're going to have cruise quarters that are adequate, and also a large training room, which also will house the emergency operations center for the town.
Sure. Because when we talk, you're our fire chief. It's not like that's the only thing that the fire department talks about and does. Right. So there's a lot to think about when you're talking about a building that is, not only going to be the home for the trucks, but also your offices and talking about emergency management.
Right. You're looking at 24-hour functionality, and that really wears on an older building when it was initially designed for, say, just either volunteer use or just daytime use. Now we're busy enough where it's a 24-hour use facility, and we have to make sure that when we design a building and even construct a building, it can handle that kind of abuse, day-to-day usage. So we were lucky to get the voter approval, but also use the existing station and once you go into the new station, you'll see that we've modified the existing station to accommodate more room for our units, but also accommodate more usage area for our office space. So when somebody comes in the front door, they're now going to be welcome to our office area, and depending on who you need to do business with, whether it be with me or with one of our fire prevention specialists and officers, you'll be able to see everybody right there. And we'll have enough room to meet with people also. Where in the past, we were kind of cramped. We really couldn't talk to anybody.
Yeah, definitely. I know we went over there and filmed a little bit. It was kind of stark to see that the building really hadn't changed in like 50 years.
Right.
So you guys were working with that space for quite a while. Now, talking about offices and space, it obviously displaced you during this process. Talk about where you've moved to since then.
Well, we've taken all of our administrative personnel, and we've placed some in the basement of Town Hall, and where the old courthouse was, and we've placed some personnel at the Mass Road Station upstairs. And it's not ideal. We're still able to get our business done. There is some inefficiencies in where we can't talk to each other on a regular basis or meet regularly, but we're getting things done. We're hoping that we get back as soon as possible in the new building. People are always asking, when is this project going to be done?
Yeah.
And
when is it going to be done?
Well, we're hoping. Right now, we're at a point in the construction project that the weather really doesn't impact us. For some time, the weather did, whether putting the roofing on, whether siding on, or the windows in. Now everything is kind of enclosed. We have a roof on, it's secured, so the weather really doesn't have much of an impact. You'll see some siding go on next week or two, but all in all, the majority of the work is happening behind those walls. And we're hoping to get in by May 1st, barring any materials issues or contractor issues. But May 1st is our target.
That's the target date. That's great. And anybody who's done any sort of home project or built a house or anything, they all know that the finish work is really what takes the time. So now that you got that outer shell done, the inside part is what's going to take forever.
There's a lot of things going on in the background where we're choosing fit and finishes. And also, I applied for a grant, a FEMA grant that would pay for the generator for this building and for equipment that would upfit it for the Emergency Operations Center. A radio system that would function in the Emergency Operations Center and in the station, and some equipment that goes along with it. We got that grant. So that helps pay for a lot of the fit and finishes
Nice.
that we're hoping to get. And that was a $93,000 grant that we were able to capitalize on.
And then you talked about the second story, but also you needed some height too and width, really. You know, when we went in there, I actually sat in one corner, got a little claustrophobic with a camera, kind of that space where they pulled in. You know, I got to say credit to your guys in the fire department. Being able to park into that was incredible because there wasn't a lot of leeway either side.
Right. In the old station, we had 10-foot wide door widths where the ambulance was able to squeeze into. And for the larger apparatus, the door height was around 11 feet.
Okay.
And again, the width was challenging. And so now, with the new station, the new addition, it's a 14-foot width doorway and a 14 feet high.
Okay.
So now, the doors can navigate in and out in turning onto Church Street without possibly striking the building.
Sure.
And we've done that in the past where, you know, if depending on being dark or they're going out an emergency, some door strikes happened. This way, we have wider doors, so we don't see that happening again. But the Bay Area and the new area, when people go in there, they're going to notice that it's extremely high. It's designed for that reason. Obviously we've got a lot of the utilities in the drainage up above us, but all of our fire trucks now, in order to service them and check them on a daily basis, we have to tilt the cabs. To get to the motor to check to make sure it's functioning properly.
Right.
And every day we have to pull it out in the cold, no matter what the weather is, and tilt that cab.
Yep.
And it's not ideal at all to do that. So now they'll be able to tilt that cab inside the station in any weather.
I imagine having it when it was the way it was, response times could potentially be affected by something like that. Just trying to get out, it takes, I mean, sure, maybe that's 20 or 30 seconds, but that's 20 or 30 seconds.
But it's time, exactly. It's time, and we try to get out as quick as possible with the old station, but with the new station, we'll be able to navigate through the doorways with the wider width.
Well, I'm excited to see this all come to fruition, and when it's done, when you're out of the basement of Town Hall again and out of Mass Road and back to the old offices, we'll have to come and take a tour and show us around.
Absolutely, and you'll see some of the combination where we took the old station and retrofitted to the newer offices and in the newer operations, and even capitalized on things like that old hose tower. That old hose tower we never used anymore because we use the modern hose that doesn't need to be hung and dried like the old ones. So we save some money by integrating the new elevator system that goes to the second floor in that hose tower.
Sure.
So if you're looking at a new elevator for a building like that, it could cost $120,000 to $130,000.
Wow.
By integrating it into the old hose tower, it cost $80,000.
That's a big savings.
It's a big savings, and we get to use the old hose tower without not having to knock it down.
Well,
so we're happy to have you, and we're excited for when it's finished. And I promise you, we're going to have an open house, and the whole community can celebrate.
Fantastic! Can't wait. Well, thanks again for talking with us here in our first edition of Goffstown This Week, and we'll be talking about some sports scores and some things coming up in just a bit.
Goffstown battled back from being down 5 at half. They had a tremendous third quarter. At one point had an 11-point lead in the fourth, and now they're trailing by 1. What athleticism. So that'll put number 3 on the line, Benny Gantrich, and if he sinks 2 of these, Goffstown is going to be forced to hit a 3-pointer to tie it up.
First one is good. He's over a 2-point lead. Second shot away, in and out. Fought for and knocked out of bounds by Hanover.
So it's Goffstown's ball. 24 seconds left in the game. They trail by 2 points.
They don't need to be looking for the three-pointer.
Well, you know, the big question here is if you're Hanover, do you even foul and say, hey, make 2 at the free throw line? You know,
do that. Isaac with the ball. Gets it back over to Skinner.
See, I don't think you want to wait last minute.
Skinner's going to drive, goes all the way up, and in.
And he
The
makes it.
basket's good.
Okay, no fouls. No cheap fouls here. No cheap fouls.
Stolen. Great job that time
Shoot.
by French. Takes a shot.
Oh,
it's off the
and it's
back of
going
the
into
rim.
overtime.
Wow. Great defense that time at half court for Goffstown, stealing that ball.
Here's 3 things from this week's town meetings that you need to know. At the recent deliberative session, the town recognized Town Administrator Sue DeRusso for her service and for her upcoming retirement.
Who, after nearly 24 years of employment service to the town of Goffstown, has decided to retire effective March 31st. As a past chairman of the Budget Committee, and now as chairman of the Board of Selectmen, Sue has always gone out of the way to make sure I had all the information I needed to perform those tasks. Believe me when I say it is with deep regret that we accepted her resignation So thank you, Sue, for the 24 years of service to the town of Goffstown. Best wishes, and good health in the future. Thank you.
Articles from the deliberative session were sent on to the town warrant. There was one small change to an article for the elderly exemption. Town voting day is March 14th. At the only meeting this week, the selectmen reminded residents of the state DMV registration outage, which is going to start on February 20th. This coming week, the state will change over their computer system, causing an outage for processing registration requests. It's expected that the service will resume by midweek, but as always, there could be further delays. And the board recognized two with the Life Saving Award, Patrolman Patton and Nurse Deborah Girardin. That's three things from this week's meetings. You can watch the meetings in their entirety on Channel 22 or on Goffstown TV on demand.